right. We always talk to producer Rick before, and I didn't even want to tell him, buddy, you're in for a ride. Well, no, because Renae goes, when Renae comes to me and goes, we got lots to talk about. I'm like, because normally Renae's always like, I don't know what we're going to talk about.
What are we going to talk about?
And Steve, what are we going to do? And I'm worried. Not much happened. This time she was like, oh my God.
What are we talking about? What are we not talking about?
Oh my God. Well,
what are we oversharing? What are we?
Dude, it was a blessing and a curse. We ended up getting iced in is the name for it.
Yes. Luckily, I mean, you came home. Where were you? Where were you when you came home off the road?
I don't know. Was it Cleveland? Kansas City. Got home, and then they were like, "Hey, everybody, bear down." And I'm sure Rick went through it. Did you keep power, Rick?
We lost power for, I would say, 6 hours.
Oh, you bitches!
Oh, I'm sorry. Where were you last year?
Yeah, I was in Florida when that shit happened. But dude, we lost power for 3 days. So I mean, it was in the beginning.
Whoa! Don't say we. Our home lost power for 3 days. You were in California.
Well, hang on.
I was home with the children.
Well, let's get to that.
Let's get to that.
First of all,
Hi, welcome. We just skipped that part.
Yes, welcome. By the way, first of all, it was kind of cool because I was missing the kids. We had been on the road a lot.
Garrett was getting real emotional.
Garrett was missing me. I was missing him.
It feels like it's been a long stretch since we traveled with you.
So when they canceled school, I'm like, well, great. Like, I'll hang out with my kids.
So when we filmed last week's podcast,
we were frozen in.
Rick was like, hey, can we do it at this time? And I was like, well, we might be able to. I might have Delilah in my lap because I don't know if childcare is going to be able to get to me.
Miss Lori can't get here. We're literally iced in. So, man, we had a wonderful Sunday, a wonderful Monday, a wonderful Tuesday.
The kids didn't go to school. We just had them in our bed in the morning and just played around.
It was really a blessing for like nobody around, just us.
And I was so tired and worn down with all the projects we have going. I was like,
everything stopped.
I was grateful. Yeah.
Everything stopped. We had nobody working on the guest house. We had nobody working on the barn outside.
It was a nice pause.
Yeah. Lori wasn't here, which was nice. No, but it really was like a pause.
It almost felt like Christmas again, right? When you just like stay in your PJs and the whole world is quiet.
Nothing to do. We watched movies. We played games. We had the neighbors over, both neighbors on either side. We had them over. We played gestures one night.
An impromptu family game night.
Had a blast with that, right? So it was really, really cool. Now
you kept saying, you were like, how nice is this? This is like good quality family time.
So now we have to back up. So Garrett's teacher sent home a book for the kids for us to read to the kids.
Yes. And I have to recommend it. Our district does this thing called, it's a family reading thing, and district wide, they choose a book every year. And for a month they say like, follow along, read this chapter to this chapter this night. It's like a book club, but it's for the whole district.
And I just love Garrett too. He's like, Dad, we're behind. We're behind, Dad. And I'm like, okay, buddy, we'll catch you up. But he was into it, you know. But
the book was Crenshaw, by the way.
It's called Crenshaw, and we're getting very close to books that I will not be able to read to Garrett. Like, it's a real book, man. Like, it was like
it's called a chapter book, babe.
It's a chapter book. No pictures, nothing, right? So I would read, and it was cool when I would read, but because I got into it.
You do. They chose good books. They choose good books.
I'm like, Garrett, what'd I miss? Like, because when I'm gone or whatever. But to make a long story short, it is a story about a family that ends up losing their home and having to move in their minivan. Yeah. The dad gets hurt. He can't work. Mom is doing the best she can to keep the lights on. Can't keep it together.
Their kids are legitimately hungry. Like, they get their meals hungry, at school.
And this young boy creates this imaginary friend. Mm-hmm. And the imaginary friend is the one that he's talking to and going through experience with.
It's his emotional comfort, like a imaginary support animal.
Right. So now you know that we're reading a book about a family that ends up basically homeless.
They have to live out of their car.
So now you know that. So Wednesday, where did I come back from? I came back from somewhere.
You were in Kansas City.
No, but Wednesday when the lights went out.
Oh, I don't know. Did you have like a 1-day gig somewhere?
I ran out to Ponch
to get
shirts, and then I
Raoul Western wear shirts.
So as soon as I got back, I see that literally our house lights just the whole neighborhood.
You're driving into the neighborhood, yeah.
Click, gone, right? So Renae calls. She's like, "Hey, you need to come home. Lights just went out." I'm like, "I'm home. I saw the lights go out." Came in, and of course, we're like, "Wow, look, it's going to be an hour or 2 hours, maybe 30 minutes."
Well, they even sent a notification. They're like, "You sign into the app for our electric company, and it's like power back on at 11."
Right.
So we're like, "Okay, no problem. We'll put all the kids in our bed, a lot of blankets. We had the house warm and toasty. The fireplace had been lit."
But it started to freak Garrett out.
Yeah.
And Garrett got really nervous and really emotional. And
well, this is the first time, like Rick said, we have been really lucky. All the other Snow-geddons and everything, we've been traveling on the road. So this is the first time he's experienced a power outage. He didn't even really understand exactly what it meant. Like he thought the TVs would still work or we'd still have internet.
Right. This was, in our other home, we've never lost power.
Yeah.
So, for this to happen, you could tell, and I already had gone full dad. I had already charged my drill battery, and I have
a drawer that has tons of flashlights.
We were on it. So
each kiddo had their own flashlight, like their little lightsaber. At first, it was like kind of cool.
Well, but not for Garrett.
Not for Garrett. Delilah's like flashing it everywhere.
He was getting really emotional and really scared. I said, "Garrett, are you okay, buddy?" And he's like, "Well, what's going to happen?" And I go, "Buddy, in a few hours." Then it turned into, you know what, man? By the time we wake up, we're going to have lights. Now, the crappy part is I had to leave Thursday morning.
And it happened at 8 o'clock at night. It happened at bedtime.
At bedtime, I wake up, still no lights. And it's the macho in me. I'm like, "Babe, I can stay." And then Renae looks at me like, "What the fuck are you going to do? Are you going to climb the pole and fix it yourself? Like, I'm a grown up. You got to go to work, and if you're flying out, you should go."
Yeah, well, you woke up at like 4:30 to catch your flight, and I was like, "No power."
And you're like, "Just do what you got to do. I'll handle it." Well, Renae calls me up. She goes, "Man, Garrett's really effed up. Like he's really because then."
Well, they also thought they were returning to school on Thursday morning. And then, so we had prepped him for that. You're going back to school. He was so excited to see his teacher because he had been out for a long time because he had strep throat.
Right.
So it had been like almost it had definitely been a week, maybe almost close to 2 now that he had not been at school. And he was really looking forward to going back. And then it was like, oh, now we're flipping the switch on that too. There's no electricity and now you're not going back to school.
And then I got to go to work and, but Renae and I started to realize that in the book Crenshaw, it was lights go out, can't pay the lights.
Yeah.
We're going to a hotel. So then Renae ended up in a hotel, and then Garrett freaked out more because everything, the pattern of events that he just read about a family becoming homeless,
living in their car.
That they went from the house, couldn't pay the lights, couldn't get the food, to now we have to go to a hotel, to now we're in a minivan, homeless.
Yeah.
Garrett was like, "We're fucking homeless." It's happening. So I just felt terrible. And then I had such a long week.
I know. I laughed, but it was an emotional up and down for him. Compiled by the fact that this week you were gone for 5 days?
4 days.
4 days.
Well, 4.5, right? With the flying back. But
layly it's been like
3 days,
3 days.
This week in PA, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm back Sunday, right? Yeah. And Renae and I talked about that, man. 4 days is just too much.
Yeah.
But, and I wanted to have this conversation too. Well, by the way, our lights are back on, obviously.
we are not homeless.
We are not homeless. And Garrett has since recovered. I actually talked to him last night about it.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Dad, will you always have work?" And I said, "I don't know, buddy." I said, "But, I'm trying to be really smart. And I said, and even if I stop working today, we will not end up homeless. I said, we've been doing very good. And he goes, okay, I just don't want to be homeless. Oh. So it's like, well, fuck, thanks, Miss Trebola, for sending that book home.
No, Miss Trebola didn't pick it, the district did, but I got emotional. Like when I would read him that book, and I think that probably, that had to be a little scaring for him too, but I couldn't help it. I just like, when I read, we are so blessed and so fortunate. And when you read that book, it really is an example of a family who is working. It's not like they just don't care. They're working. They're trying to make ends meet, and they can't. And this poor little boy, you're hearing the story from his point of view and what he's experiencing and how it's all out of his control, which is why he creates this imaginary friend. And it just got me, Steve. Like, no, it got me too. And got me.
I'm so proud of Garrett with his social intellect, right? And Garrett would say things like, Dad, we're so lucky, right? And Dad, I know we have so much. And so I do appreciate that book for the reasons of, hey, here's a story that could be very, very real.
Yeah.
That hopefully will make you think and realize that there are people out there that don't have it as good as us.
Well, I was actually going to email his teacher and the principal and be like, this book really affected our family, just the way the timing of when we were reading it and how things aligned. Like, it really put it into perspective for us and made us imagine what it must be like to not have electricity and be living in your, like be moving, and we weren't living in our car, but like we could imagine what that was like.
Well, and unfortunately, I think some people have this attitude of like, that fucking homeless bum, what a bum. He's, he drug addict. And it's like, well, no, man, these people suffer from mental health, or there is a disability.
The dad had a disability.
Or there's a line of bad things that happened.
Yeah.
Right. So
like the woman with the tree we talked about on last week's podcast, like, and that was the author's intent with this book, was like to show that in our society, there are people living this way, and it's not out of lack of desire or effort or.
So that's why, with Helicopters for Heroes, I can't help everybody.
Yeah.
But if I could help a veteran, because we have, what people don't know is 1 in every 9 homeless people is a veteran. Yeah. That's real. So if I can affect and keep somebody from being homeless that's a veteran, that's kind of, at least I'm doing something. I'm trying, right? But I actually wanted to talk about this because I found it so sad, so interesting. I got invited to do the George Lopez podcast.
Yeah.
And I was happy to do it.
You went a day early. You flew into LA a day early.
I went in a day early, and mine and George's relationship has been up and down. Mine and George's relationship, has been sometimes mad at each other, sometimes having drinks together and having a good time.
Yeah.
But it's definitely been up and down. And I have had my issues and my frustration with George for various reasons, but I've gotten to the point in my life where, the last conversation that me and him had, we kind of hashed it out, right?
Yeah.
And I am all about moving forward, forgiving people, trying to understand him and trying to understand, why he did the things that he did.
Did you guys talk about the ups and downs on the podcast?
A little.
Yeah.
But I wanted to tell him, hey man, I owe you an apology. And I owe you an apology because I put a lot of pressure on you to help others. And that's not fair.
Yeah.
It is not up to him. He is not obligated to help others. Now, is it something that he should try to do? Is it something that I desperately try to do? However, that's a big focus for me, is to help others, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that somebody else has to, right? There were times where I felt like George was disrespectful to me, or
in what way?
Or didn't take the time to say hi or talk, And now that I am in the position that I'm in, I understand a little more. You know, I am not as famous as George Lopez.
Yeah.
But I do understand, you know, one in particular, we're all at the ice house and George pulled up, right? And we're like, oh, I'm in the parking lot. George, and I'm like, I know George,
Yeah.
you know? So George gets out of the car. I'm like, George. And he's like, can't talk. And then just like his security, like put him in the green room. And then the security
Blocked it off.
stood outside the green room. And I'm like, hey man, I want to say hi to George. Like he's not saying hi to anybody. Right. And that for a long time, I was like, well, fuck him, dude. Like what a dick. However, now I understand, you know, and now I understand that he wanted to go to the ice house. He wanted to get on stage. He wanted to work out material and he wanted to go home. And I realized that when there's 30 comics hanging out,
Yeah.
that if he stops to talk to me, then that means that he has to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
I also know that after the show, when they escorted him out of there and put him in his car and he left, and again, you know, security, people saying, hey, he doesn't want to talk.
Yeah.
At that time, I'm like, man, what a fucking dick. And now I'm like, hey, man, I get it. People come at me all the time.
Yeah.
You know, people want to talk. People want to hang out. And I am at the point in my career where I still have that time. I can still do it. Mm-hmm. However, I am learning that is becoming more and more difficult. You know, I will say that I think there was maybe a better way that George could have handled it.
Yeah.
You know, I think that maybe George could have walked by and said, Steve, hey, I love all of you. Unfortunately, guys, I'm getting in, I'm getting out. Thanks, guys. Please respect me. I just want to do my thing. I love you all. Good luck to you all.
Yeah.
You know, something.
Yeah. But you are a different human. You're a rare breed, Steve Trevino.
Yeah, but as I've grown in my career and I look at and then there was moments where I was like, hey man, you know, George has this TV show. Why is he not helping other people?
Yeah.
And now,
I mean, that's a big one.
But now after talking to George and him, you know, explaining to me that, Steve, I was scared.
I was going to say, what did you learn?
Well, he was like, man, he's like, I was scared. You know, I was trying to make it. I was trying to make sure that my show got picked up. He goes, you know, and he says, man, he goes, I wasn't worried about anything or anybody but, you know, and
making the air and not ruffling feathers.
Making the air and doing 100 episodes, you know, and he told me a story on the podcast where he said, man, he goes, that those first few months of preparing for the show, mm-hmm. he said all the actors would hang out separate from him. So he finally went to them and said, guys, like, why do you guys not hang out with me? Mm-hmm. You know, I want to hang out with you guys. Like, I want us all to be a team. And one of the actors said, look, man, we're on pilots all the time. We're on pilots all the time, and we don't want to get attached to anything. You know, there's so many pilots that we end up on that don't go anywhere. And then George said, no, I will fight tooth and nail. This show's not going anywhere. So, you know, I understood the pressure of, oh my God, I have this opportunity. I have to focus on this opportunity.
And protect it. And
protect it.
Yeah.
And then I also know that a lot of times, especially in a situation like that, you don't have a lot of pull in the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, he was a pioneer.
He was, you know, he was a nobody.
Yeah.
And I mean that by no offense, but he was a nobody at that time, getting a show. He didn't have any clout or any power to do anything, you know. And it sounds like, you know, with this new show that he has kind of changed his ways and has a different attitude towards things. And he even said, like, he's like, Steve, as I get older, I get more confident. I'm more secure in my career.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I have time to he's like, I want to produce now. I want to direct. I want to do stuff. I want to do something with you and your wife. He's like, I think you're great. So I enjoyed the conversation. He is somebody that is done this business and has succeeded. You know, do I align with him politically? No, I don't.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. And the reason I wanted to talk about it was because I put a picture of me and George, and the comments that came in were unbelievable to me.
I gotta say, I was surprised by that. I don't know why. I didn't realize people had such strong opinions about that.
Oh my, I mean, people were like, Steve, you let me down, and how dare you hang out with him, and fuck that puto. And I mean, just like, I was like, holy moly.
Yeah.
And then what bugged me the most was like, Steve, you disappointed me, can't follow you now, or Steve, don't align yourself with that sellout, blah, blah. And here's my thought, okay?
Yeah.
My thought is that I wanted to have a conversation with him.
Uh-huh.
I find him interesting.
Yeah.
He is a fellow comedian that I have known and have had ups and downs with him for 20 years.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk to him. I don't necessarily align with him politically, but that's what scares me the most about where we're at in this country is that holy moly, you're mad at me for hanging out with somebody that has different opinions than me?
Well, that's immediately where my brain went. Is like, I don't want to be all hippy dippy about it, but I will. Like, can we coexist?
We need to,
like,
we need to. And
put the bumper sticker on the table. Like,
no, I mean, and it is a sad world, in my opinion, that we cannot be friends with people who have other opinions.
But even you and I, in our own marriage, you and I, politically, sometimes you and I do not see eye to eye.
And that's okay.
And work-wise, you and I do not see eye to eye sometimes. And we love each other and coexist. And I'm not saying you have to like love everyone, but I feel like I learn as much. I've been in situations where I have learned as much from someone who feels very differently about something than I do, as well as someone who we see eye to eye.
Well, and and to me, like, I want to be friends with everybody.
Oh, I don't know if I want to be friends with everyone. I'm a snob, but
but what I'm saying is, in my opinion, because I love this country, and I think that the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence really did it right, and the freedom of speech, and I'm all about people being able to voice their opinions.
Yeah,
that's very American. And I don't have to like your opinions. I don't have to align with your opinions. Yeah. And that's what makes America great. We can both be Americans. We can both have conversations. And I don't have to agree with you.
Yeah.
And the fact that people lost their shit because I hung out with somebody that they don't like or don't think is politically on the right side is insane to me.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me, and it bums me out because, I don't, I know that George is very political. That's his thing.
Yeah.
You have the right to do that. That's a very American thing to be able to say what you want to say.
Yeah.
Do I agree with some of the things he's done? No. Do I agree with, his politics? Most of it? No. But we're both comedians.
Yeah, and you know what? Like on a whole nother level, and I don't know if you even want to take the convo here, but there's a whole nother thing. It is so hard to be a Mexican American in this business. At some point, we have to pull together and root for each other if we're going to get anywhere.
Well, that was what was really interesting, and we both disagreed on the podcast because there's a kid right now that's hot, man. I mean, he's blowing up. He's getting a lot of heat. He's doing really, really well. Very young Mexican-American kid who's very funny.
Yeah.
He's very, very funny. His name is Ralph Barbosa. And, I started seeing him here and there. And I'm watching his stuff. And again, even his comedy doesn't align with my views.
I don't know him. I haven't seen it.
It doesn't align with my views, but he's funny.
Yeah.
And not only that, he's getting heat at a young age. And I'm the type of guy that I look back and go, there's two kinds of comedians. There's the ones that go, I fucking went through it, so fuck you, you're going to go through it.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's other guys that go, I went through it, I don't want you to go through it. I want to help you. I want to look out for you. I want to try to help, and I want to root for you.
Yeah.
So,
sometimes with you, whether you want me to or not.
Yeah. I mean, I look, Ralph, I sent him a message via Instagram just saying, hey man, congratulations on all your success. I'm loving watching you blow up, but George's view on it was, no, you don't have to help anybody. And we shouldn't help anybody. And Steve, you're not at the top yet. Why would you help him? You know, so we had a very difference in opinion on the podcast. Yeah, and again, you have the right to your opinion.
Yeah.
You know, and even though I disagree with that attitude, you know, and I've always said, don't get me wrong, I help those who help themselves.
Oh, for sure.
Right? I don't help people that don't help themselves. If you are somebody out there working hard, trying to make this comedy thing a career, you know, I'm going to help you. And by the way, regardless of skin color. But if I see a Mexican American kid who's really talented and really hardworking, I'm going to help him right away as well, right?
It's what you're passionate about.
I'm passionate about it. But again, regardless of skin color, regardless of who you are, if you are working hard and you are funny, I'm happy to help you.
Yeah.
You know, because... But it was cool because I read a few of the comments last night because the episode has already aired.
Oh, has it? I didn't realize that.
And it was cool. You know, a lot of people were like, man, I agree with Steve. You know, and by the way, that Ralph kid is very funny.
Yeah.
And hey, George, can you get Ralph on your podcast? You know?
Wow.
So I'm glad that we disagreed.
Rick, we should have Ralph on our podcast.
He's great. You know, he's the kid's really funny. There's a few jokes that I'm like, because, you know, it shits on Texas a little, and it's a little woke, but that's what these young kids, they're young, you know, that's what they do, man. These young kids, you know,
young kids,
you know, they do that, you know, these whippersnappers, you know, these youngins, these young bucks, you know. So anyway, I was just kind of floored at the amount of hate that not only came towards George, but also came to me. I also can't imagine. I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky that the hate towards me and you is very minimal. You know, we don't get. I don't know, and I'm sure it's bound to happen. But you know, I am very emotional, and I do take things personal. And I don't know, man. I mean, you got to feel for George because I can't imagine the constant
dealing with all the mudslinging,
dealing with the fuck you and you suck and, you know, sell out. And, you know, man, it's rough, dude.
I mean, we're lucky enough where I saw where someone chimed in on something because we were talking about the Google reviews. And on that episode, someone commented, like made a crappy, shitty comment. And people regularly, the people who love you. And I get that love as an extension. I'm very fortunate. And they will chime in. Like, we don't have to say anything or comment because they're great about, you know, but squashing it.
I'm all about trying. I try hard.
Yeah.
I try hard to be a good person. I try hard to do the right thing. I try. And I think
always good intentions.
Always good. I always try to have good intentions. I mean, sometimes my emotions get the better of me, but I always try.
My temper.
You know, I don't think that there's a better way to put my life. I just try.
Yeah.
I try to be better. I try to be good. I try to be a good father. I try to be a good husband. Do I always succeed? The answer is no.
Yeah.
But I try, and I think people see that, you know, in me. And also, man, I got love for people. I love human beings, and I love for people to succeed. And I love, and again, I've also learned in my life that one of the most important things is forgiveness.
Yeah.
I have learned that if you can learn to forgive, truly forgive, and move on, that your life's better.
Holding on to bad energy does no good.
And I was, as you know, very grumpy and very angry. And I hated fucking, how come this guy gets that? And how come this guy gets that? And when am I going to get my chance? And F that guy. And that guy's not as good as me. And that guy doesn't deserve this. And once I let that go, and once I forgave, I mean, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, I forgive George.
You know what I was just realizing as you were saying that? You were in LA, you did the podcast, and then you were in Oxnard. And I feel like something about when you go to LA for your mental health is very toxic.
I hate LA.
And I think, I just had a moment where I was like, why is LA so toxic for him? What is it? And as you were talking about this,
I was a sad person.
That feeling that you were describing and that resentment and that anger, I feel like that's very much associated with
yes.
LA.
I was not a happy person. It was a constant struggle. I didn't have the Texas sky. I didn't have the open fields. I didn't have my family, which is very important.
But
to me.
struggling breeds that. You know, like you were at that place in your career, and I feel like struggling breeds resentment.
Well, but and also in stand-up comedy specifically, it's so competitive.
Yeah.
You know, you're everybody is clawing and scratching, and
There's only so much stage time.
all trying to get stage time. And you know, it was LA for me was a very, very tough time in my life.
Yeah.
You know, because I was struggling, because I was working hard, because, you know, I didn't know, and again, no safety net.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if I was going to survive. If I
Cost
was
of
gonna
living
make
is
it.
crazy.
Cost of living is crazy. And thank God you came into my life, because I think you were that light of happiness for me that led me to start becoming who I am.
Yeah.
Being confident of being who I am.
And just laughed at the jokes, baby.
And laughing and having a good time and starting a family and all of that stuff is what I think pulled me out of it, you know. And I do have comedian friends that, you know, and I'm not going to name any names, but they're very depressed. And they end up in therapy, and they end up, you know, committing suicide. They end up on drugs. They end up, and it makes you realize that when you are living in that constant, I got to compete, I got to win, I got to get that next thing, comedy is everything, you went on your road and forgot to love something else. So now the only thing you love is comedy, and comedy will never, ever fill it all.
Yeah.
Right? I'm lucky that I have a wife, I have kids, I have people that I love and care about. And it was funny because I was talking to Edro. He came to visit at the Oxnard Levity Live. And he goes, how you been, man? I said, I've been good, dude. I said, you know, I'm so excited. I'm starting to coach jiu-jitsu on Mondays, and I coach Little League on Tuesdays, and then jiu-jitsu again on Wednesday, and then baseball on Thursday. Of course, he's single, no kids. He goes, that sounds fucking horrible. Right? But in my heart, I didn't want to tell him because he'll never know. It's not horrible.
He might not. He may know. You don't know that he'll never know.
No, he will someday if he has kids.
Yeah,
he will know. But right now, I can't explain it to him because he won't understand.
Yeah,
you know, much like, you know, Kyle, when he'd be like, "I don't get it, dude." You know, I remember him saying, "There's no fucking way I'm going to Paw Patrol on ice."
Yeah.
And I go, yes.
He was an opening comic at one point.
I go, yes, you will, and you'll love it. And he goes, there's no fucking way I'll love. I go, it's not. You're not loving. You're not loving the show. You're loving the look on your kid's face that they are making
when the characters walk out on the stage, when they have their little bucket of popcorn in their lap.
When your son looks at you and goes, "You're the best dad," you know, those are the things. That are beautiful, you know, and for me, I had a really special moment last night. Worked very hard to get my blue belt and get on the mat. So I just started doing that. So yesterday I was on the mat as Garrett was ranking up.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the stands. I wasn't taking pictures. I was in that class working with the students, and I was on the mat with my son.
Yeah.
You know, and to me, that I just had a moment of like, wow, man, this is awesome. So no, it is not terrible, and it is not boring. It is, man, there's a little bit of me that goes, fuck, what did I have before?
How did we fill our time before this? I think we watched more TV.
Yeah. I played a lot of Modern Warfare on Xbox. But it was really cool. Oxnard was a huge success.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about.
It was kind of a last minute addition to the calendar, and
we were actually holding the date because we didn't know if we were going to do Vegas or not, and then Vegas isn't going to work for that date, so you know we were able to do Oxnard. Sold out every single show. It was absolutely amazing.
You know what? And Oxnard, I remember because we were there with you. What, like a year ago, maybe? And so many people in Oxnard that are like, this is the 6th time I've seen you.
So great.
This is like, you know.
And then, because of the freeze, I didn't see Chief. I didn't do jujitsu. And then, so I had gone almost 2 weeks without, working out, training. And my friend Chris Bale comes in, who is a professional.
I was going to say, you got to catch me up to speed.
He's a professional fighter.
Okay.
And he fought in the USC. Now he's fighting below USC, but still a professional fighter.
Is it UFC or
UFC?
UFC. Okay.
So he comes in, and I sent him a message. I'm like, dude, can I work out with you? He's like, yeah, I'm working out at my gym. Come to this gym. You can work out with me there. I'm like, I'm on my way. So I got to work out and train with a UFC fighter. As a matter of fact, he got 2014 knockout of the year. But you meet this guy, and he fights.
Seemed like a little guy. Like he was not.
He's a little
Why
guy.
do you say that?
But he's a very deadly man. But yes, you meet him, and he's kind of he only weighs 138 pounds right now.
Yeah, and the photo you took with him, he's like smiley. He looks like a chipper little guy.
He's so positive and such a good dude, and I took Jake with me, and Jake was like, that guy? Like that guy?
Yeah.
And then Jake sees us on the mat. He's like, holy shit, that guy, right?
Yeah.
But it was also cool. The gym I was at was all people becoming pro or pro.
Yeah.
Women included. Renae, the way that they train, they're just training.
Yeah.
And it is brutal. Here we're all friendly and yes, we train hard, but we're not trying to hurt anybody. They're not.
You're there for learning.
They're not trying to hurt anybody either. But the pressure and the way that they were rolling was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
And I told Chris, I said, hey man, I hope I'm not interrupting your workout. He goes, dude, it's 2:00. I've been working out since 6 a.m.
Wow.
Because my workout starts off at 6 a.m. I just finished to hang out with you. You're my break. I'm like, okay. But it was awesome, and it was really cool, and it was a really hard week, and not because it's Oxnard, it's because I was away from my family for 4 days.
Yeah.
Missed you guys, ready to come home. But front row, this girl, Jennifer Martinez, she's sitting in the front row, and she goes, I have a gift for you and Garrett, or Delilah and Garrett. I said, oh my God, of course, she's in the front row, we're on stage.
Yeah.
And I grab it. She goes, I wrote a book. She goes, it's called Ginny's Pennies, right?
Yeah.
And I told her, I go, do you have kids? And she goes, I have an older kid. I go, what inspired you to write a book? And she said, well, I had a very rough childhood. She goes, I came from abuse. I came from a very, very poor home. She goes, and I collected pennies that I would find so that I could go buy things. Mm-hmm. She goes, so that's what inspired me to write this book. And again, I admire anybody that has an idea
and fully executes it.
Executes the idea. And look, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and she was so sweet. So she wrote us both a letter, and she said she watches the podcast. It's a beautiful book. And she said she was going to donate $1. Like so far, what she has earned from this book so far, she donated $1 from each book to Helicopters for Heroes.
What a beautiful thing. Thank you so much. And congratulations. And I wish you all the success in the world. And I hope people that have kids, because it's a great little book. It's beautifully written. Yeah. And I hope people that have kids buy Ginny's Pennies, because good for her. And then in the mail we get here, don't show them Daddy Raymond's yet.
Okay, I was going to say, I love Daddy Raymond.
Dude, Daddy Raymond's is awesome. By the way, Aztec Chevrolet, we love you. We thank you. We appreciate you. Old Salt coffee, delicious. Had it this morning. When I don't have it, I miss it. And that is the truth. I had in hotel room coffee, and I'm like, I want my Old Salt coffee. So, and they're going to be a big sponsor at Helicopters for Heroes. So I'm very, very excited. And of course, our friends at Pick Cherries.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your continued support. So look at this, dude.
They made you here. Okay.
So thoughtful.
It's Namesake Crafts is the name of Tia and Gino's.
We got to stop
place.
giving people love, man. Like, we need to start getting paid for this shit. It's awesome.
No, but we love when people
we
make
love it.
us
I'm
stuff.
kidding.
And like they sent a book for the kids. This is the second book we've gotten for the kids. And I just thought, like, how cool that our kids also have a collection of books from people.
But
who've
can
come
I
to shows.
say, you can tell that they were very thoughtful.
Oh, for sure.
They really did their research. They really made time and effort to be really awesome. I mean, Helicopters for Heroes. It says My Life in Corn. All my specials.
Yeah.
My phrase, America's favorite.
Okay, can I show Danny Raymond's?
Dude. And then this one fucking knocks it out of the park. Knocks it out of the park.
It's a bite the leg cup.
It's a bite the leg cup for
Okay,
Danny Raymond.
but
hold on. I know.
Okay. I didn't know if you read the letter.
I'm a little worried about Daddy Raymond because when he gets desperate, he might break the glass.
No, you can't.
That those are real pot leaves. Those are real marijuana leaves.
I didn't realize that. I'm like even looking
see
at
it?
it now as we're talking, like checking
Isn't
that out.
But look, they laid them out perfectly. They have the bite the leg
They're
for Daddy
perfectly
Raymond.
epoxied in. That's too
It's
funny.
so cool, man.
It's too funny.
Again, guys, when y'all send gifts like this, man, it just I always get emotional and people go, okay, we get it. You appreciate. I do.
Yeah.
And I just can't say it enough. Like all of this is overwhelming and all of this is awesome.
Yeah.
And all of this, like, it just,
And I'm so excited to give it to Daddy Raymond. Thank you.
I can't either. And when you have cancer, now they can prescribe him weed and now he can smoke in front of your mom
I'll
and be
tell
like,
him to-
hey, Mary, it's for my cancer, Mary.
I'll tell him
It's-
to take it when he's sitting in the chemo chair.
But we made another week.
Yeah.
We did it. Man, Garrett gave me the biggest hug and Delilah was just crawling all over me and I miss those guys. And, it's a bummer because, it's already going to be Wednesday and I have to leave Thursday. But next week after that, I'm doing Bryan College Station and I'm going to get home on Sunday, Super Bowl at Jake's house with my dad. And then I'll have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and most of Saturday with my family. So I will just go. I'll probably end up leaving like at 4:00, Bryan College Station, do the show Saturday night, do the show Sunday night, and then come back. So, yes, this week's a little short and it's only 3 days gone, but next week's going to be great. And then the week after that's going to be my favorite weekend of the year, and that's Helicopters for Heroes. I can't wait. We're doing so well. I mean, I get anxious. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
It is good bro time.
Yeah.
It's a
What's
good,
the culmination of a year of raising funds and celebrating all that work
and hanging out with friends that we only see there sometimes. I know that Rick and Terry are going to come out there. Man, Old Salt Coffee has laid out the red carpet for Helicopters for Heroes, and I just, we have been working hard we got those coins. We have a bunch of them. I'd like for people to order coffee on a subscription so we can send you the coin. But I was, and I'm saying this out loud because I know producer Rick's there. Rick, I'd also like to take some to Helicopters for Heroes for those guys. So kind of do that. But super excited. This weekend I'm in PA.
Yes.
And then
you're bouncing around Pennsylvania.
And like crazy places, like flying.
Wilkes-Barre, Reading.
I'm very excited. So you look beautiful as always. I forgot to tell you.
Oh, thank you.
You look beautiful.
I got wet hair. I didn't have time today.
And I know that maybe my sister Lisa won't see this on her birthday. Today's her birthday. But I do want to wish my beautiful sister, who one of the most kind people in the world, and I love her dearly, and her love and patience for my kids is just absolutely beautiful. And I just wanted to give her a shout out because sometimes I don't talk about her as much because she's very quiet and she's very reserved and she kind of does her own thing. So me and her, I've just grown to appreciate her for the love that she has for my kids and my family. And Lisa, have a beautiful birthday. I love you.
Happy birthday.
And I didn't tell you, dude. Ready for this?
What?
Timmy and I walk into the airport Thursday morning.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yes.
And I hear, Steven, it's fucking Lisa.
Your sister Lisa?
Yes,
She doesn't fly. What's she doing in the airport?
It's Lisa, Roland, and Lizzie. I'm like, what's up, guys? And they're like, oh, we're going to see Renae in Rhode Island. Renae's going to be there for 2 weeks. And Lisa was like, I have to see my daughter.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I got to chat with them. I'm like, what the fuck? What are you doing here, dude? Right? Like,
I would have never guessed you were going to say that.
So I forgot to talk about that. But I was like, what are you doing here?
And you usually fly to Austin, not San Antonio.
It's one of those like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they're such rookie travelers, I go, oh, cool. What time's your flight? They're like, oh, in 3 hours. I'm like, well, we wanted to get here early and make sure, dude, I roll up. The way I do it is I roll up, we check the merch bags. I'm walking through security and I'm pretty much walking onto the plane.
Yeah.
There's usually like 5 to 10 minutes because I have it down so well of the way things
Except when something goes awry with the kids, and then we're all like,
yep, and it is
panicked and sweating.
It is also Grandpa Joe's birthday coming up. My dad, man. So I got to figure out. I want to do something cool and special for him for his birthday. I haven't had a chance to discuss it with you.
I know. Well, no, I asked you. I said, like, let's plan something. Let's do something. Or is he going to be grumpy about his birthday the way you are? And you were like, I don't know. Let me talk to him. But
I got to talk to you about it.
Okay.
So, I want to do something really cool for him and special.
Yeah.
So we will see. But, man, life is good.
Yeah.
And I don't want to come on this podcast and sound like, we're here complaining or anything.
I didn't think we complained.
Life is good, and we're very happy and excited about.
I'm super excited. The power came back on.
Oh my gosh, dude! And that was another thing, man. And there's how you have mommy guilt. I get it.
Yeah.
Like you have mommy guilt when it comes to I should be doing this with my kids. I got daddy husband guilt with I should be there. I'm the man of the house. Like, like I got that like, man, should I go? And again, of course.
What do you do?
Of course we have the ability to go to a hotel.
Yes.
Right. So
the kids and I were safe and comfortable.
And you're such a strong woman and you're so capable. But I also think that has a lot to do with the fact that our entire relationship, I abandoned you on the weekends.
I'm not abandoned.
But I will say that I also I truly believe that is part of the secret of our success is that we do get to miss each other.
Yeah.
And I think that couples that are together every day, all the time, you don't know what you got until it's gone.
Yeah.
Right. So
I don't know if we could work together if you were also home all the time.
Well, but we went through that through COVID. Us together all the time, man. I'd be like, I'm gonna go sleep upstairs. Fuck off, dude. I can't do it with you right now. Yeah. But that's also human nature. You're not supposed to be with somebody 24 hours a day. Lori needs to go to work. Gabe needs to go to work. And then that we go, how was your day? I missed you. Let's hang out. But if you're with them all the time, like, I don't fucking miss you. I know how your day was because I was there and I could give a shit what you have to say right now. Yeah. So Jenny's Pennies, guys. I'm so proud of you. We love you guys so very much. Thank you for the continued support and love and again, we live a beautiful life all because of you guys. So thank you so much. Don't be shy with the gifts. We like alcohol, whiskeys. What do you like? Ask for a gift, honey.
No, watch your mouth. I like when people make rude comments and other people tell them to shut their mouth. That's a gift enough. I'll take that. Mouth. Yeah.
Oh, and real quick, I just wanted to throw a shout out to Miss Brazina. Did you see she sent me a message?
No.
So I grew up with Miss Brazina, and her daughter Kim was in my class.
Yes.
We were high school friends in same class.
I went to school with the younger brother.
Yeah. But Miss Brazina, such a sweet lady.
Yes.
She was always a substitute teacher. She'd always come out and just...
She helped at my dance recitals.
She was a very nice lady.
Yeah.
Is a very nice lady. So apparently a bunch of them, because I think Kim lives in Bryan College Station. So a bunch of them have gotten tickets and then they added 2 more, So Miss Brazina hits me up. Is it too much? And or 4 more. Is it too much? And I'll buy them. And can you make room for us? And I said, Miss Brazina, substitute teacher, you took care of us when we were kids. You put up with our bullshit. I got you.
Yeah.
So I just want to tell Miss Brazina that all the hard work you did and all the stuff that you did for us as
so
kids.
kind and patient.
Laughing. It didn't go unnoticed. And I'm happy to give you these tickets. So Miss Brazina, big shout out to you too. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.